I think at this point we'll... No, it's gonna be some kind of scary story. Each of us will do a different one. Okay. Which one? Scares the oldest of us. Because he's going first. Once upon a time, there was a dark, dark town that had been abandoned for many years. In that dark, dark town, there was a dark, dark neighborhood. In that dark, dark neighborhood, there was a long, dark road. At the end of that long, dark road was a long, dark path. At the end of that long, dark path, that lone, dark house has a single dark door. Behind that single dark door, there is a long, dark hallway. At the end of that long, dark hallway, there are some tall stairs. At the top of those tall stairs, there was a dark room. In that dark room, there's a narrow, dark closet. In that narrow, dark closet, there was a small, dark box. And in that small, dark box was a pink jelly bean. I really had you guys going there, didn't I? All these stories are for little kids. Who gets scared of those? The original fairy tales. Sorry, before they were edited, they were very, very creepy. But if you want something creepier, The doll had been sitting on the top shelf at a toy store for many years. It had pale skin and delicate features. Its arms and legs were held together by screws, and at its joints, it had a glamorous blue dress with a gold ribbon on the top. Sorry, I was just trying to calm myself down because the picture of the doll don't show any gold ribbon on her at all. There were no other dolls in the world like this doll. You can say that again. She's as blue as her dress. The doll stared at the people that, as they came in, perched on the highest shelf all by itself. The doll felt lonely and unwanted. It longed to have someone who would cuddle it and hug it and sleep beside it at night. I'm sorry, but can we go to the fact that it has blank eyes? Its face is as blue as its dress. And that bow is a lie. Sorry. One day, the doll's dreams came true. A little girl came into the shop with her mother. She stood in front of the shelf and pointed at the doll. The owner got out the stepladder and took the doll down and put it in a bag. The little girl carried it home. For the first time, the doll was happy. The next day, the doll lay in the girl's bedroom floor. It was discarded like a piece of old rubbish. The girl having an argument with her mother. I never wanted that stupid doll anyway, she cried. I wish you never bought it. The doll listened silently, staring at the ceiling with her glassy eyes. The girl came running into her room and slammed the door behind her. She didn't want to play with the doll. Instead, she stripped off its beautiful dress and tossed it in the corner. Whenever she passed the doll, she'd kick it and punch it. That night, the little girl lay in bed with her, sleeping peacefully. The doll stirred. It stood up. Quietly, it made its way across the bedroom floor to the door. Silently, the doll walked down the hallway, down the stairs, through the kitchen, down to the basement. The next morning, the girl's mother knocked on the door and told her it was time for school. When she didn't answer, the mother walked in the room and screamed in horror. Her daughter was lying on the floor in a pool of blood. Her limbs were split out in a strange position, like a disjointed doll. The girl was still alive, and she was writhing in pain and horror. Her mouth had been sewn shut. With long steel nails had been put in her shoulders and her hips. On the table, there was a note written in blood. It read, "Now you know what it's like to be a doll." Okay. This one's kind of creepy. But we're trying to scare you. It wouldn't be that fun if we weren't. In Japan, there was a single mother who lived all alone with her newborn baby. She was not able to work, and she had no living relatives and no friends to help her. So she found it very difficult to cope on her own. One day, the mother went out shopping for groceries and left her baby at home alone. On her way home, she met with an accident and was killed. She was not carrying any identification at the time, and the police were unable to figure out who she was. Nobody came forward to claim the body, so she was buried in an unmarked grave. She had no living relatives, which meant nobody noticed her disappearance. 2 months later, the dead mother's landlord noticed that he hadn't received any rent from her. He visited the house and knocked on the door. When nobody answered, he opened the front door with his duplicate key. He went inside and found the house was in complete darkness. The electricity had been cut off. He walked around in the dark and found a room. Going from room to room, all the woman's furniture and clothing was still in the bedroom. He found a black doll lying in the middle of the floor. She must have left in a hurry, he said to himself. She didn't take anything with her. Then he heard a rushing noise. It's coming from the black doll. He bent over and picked it up. But in that moment, he touched it. The doll crumbled apart in his hands. Hundreds of cockroaches scurried away, and all that was left was the skeleton of a baby. Fine, no more doll stories. Those stories are not that funny. And if you think they are, they're not. Okay, these are ones for before bed, so I'm definitely going to enjoy this. If you ever sleep alone at night, you should never sleep in a double bed. If you do, you should never just sleep on one side of the double bed. As the legend goes, in the dark of night, while you're sleeping on one side of the double bed, you will sense the presence of someone or something creeping into your room. The first night this happens, the thing will just lie down on the floor next to your bed, and you'll hear breathing. The next night, it will lie down Next to you, on the bed, you will hear the deep breaths right next to your ear and feel its breath on your neck. If you allow this to continue for another night, you will be woken up in the middle of the night and your bed will be shaking. Then the mattress will start bouncing up because the thing will start jumping up and down on your double bed. Whatever you do, do not let it know you're not asleep. One night, an 8-year-old girl was sitting at home watching television with her mother. Suddenly, the screen began to flicker, and the image of a ghostly woman in red inexplicably appeared on the TV. She was holding a small sign that was covered in words scrawled in red ink. It read, "This is a special announcement. Parents, please send your children to bed immediately." The mother was worried and told her daughter to go to bed. The young girl protested, but the mother remained firm. She grabbed her daughter by the arm and led her into the hallway. The girl meekly walked up the stairs to her bedroom, and her mother returned to the living room. She looked at the TV again. The woman on the screen was now holding a new message. It said, "Please wait." The mother sat patiently on the sofa, waiting for the special announcement. After 5 minutes had passed, nothing happened. She began to get bored. Then the woman displayed a new message. The writing was tiny and difficult to read, so the mother inched closer to make out the words. The sign said, "Thank you, your children are now dead." The mother, horrified, ran upstairs and burst into her daughter's bedroom. She found the young girl lying in bed with the cover pulled up over her neck. She breathed a sigh of relief as she watched her daughter sleeping. The mother noticed something was wrong. The blankets on the bed were not moving. Her daughter wasn't breathing. Slowly, she walked over to the girl's bedside and pulled the covers off. She recoiled in horror and began to scream. Up on the pillow, lying on the pillow, lay her daughter's severed head. Her body was nowhere to be found. More than 500 children died that night. The police couldn't trace the strange television broadcast, and the woman holding the sign was never identified. Okay, this is one of the scarier ones. And you know how I normally am. So you guys had better be precisely excited about this. You know I like to scare people. So there was a teenage girl who wanted to go to the disco for the first time. She asked her parents for permission, but they said she was too young. When she argued with them, they refused to listen to her and sent her to her room. The girl was angry and decided to sneak out of the house. She really wanted to go to the nightclub. She took some pillows and put them under the blanket on her bed to make it look as if she were sleeping there. Then she got dressed up, put on some makeup, slowly opened her bedroom door. She could hear her parents talking in the kitchen, so she quietly tiptoed downstairs and made her way out the front door. When she got home later that night, she climbed up in her bedroom window and found her bed had been disturbed. The blankets were crumpled and there were holes in her sheets. There was also a hole in one of the pillows. In the morning, when she came down for breakfast, she didn't see anything she didn't say anything to her parents, but they were looking at her strangely. In the evening, her parents went out for dinner. The girl wanted to call one of her friends, but she had ran out of credit. She went to a local shop and topped up her mobile phone It was getting dark, and on her way back, she had to walk through the park. She was going down a deserted path when all of a sudden, a masked man jumped out of the bushes and tried to attack her. He had a long iron bar in his hand, and he swung it at her head. She managed to dodge the blow just in time. A few days later, the girl's uncle was found dead in his hospital bed. He had been smothered with a pillow. Within a few months, wait, I missed a part. The day of the wedding, the newlyweds went on their honeymoon. They booked a short holiday at a scenic resort in the mountains next to a shimmering lake. When they arrived at the location looking so beautiful that they decided to take a boat trip on the lake and take in the view. It was autumn, and the leaves were falling from the trees. The sun was setting, casting an orange glow across the resort. Was almost deserted. When they rowed out to the center of the lake, the husband was grabbed. The husband got up and grabbed his wife. He pushed her over the side of the boat, and she tumbled into the icy water with a splash. He grabbed an oar and began to beat her over the head with it as she struggled to stay afloat. Eventually, he knocked her unconscious, and she sank beneath the waves. Then he rowed back to shore and called the police. Tearfully recounting how his wife accidentally fallen overboard and drowned. A few days later, the girl's uncle was found dead in his hospital bed. He had been smothered with a pillow. Within a few months of the girl's husband receiving his $1 million inheritance, and he split it. Within a few months, the girl's husband received the $1 million inheritance and split it with the girl's parents. Oh, we skipped someone. It's not so funny. A man was sitting next to an attractive woman on a train. The woman took a book and began to read it. The train stopped at many stations, but she never looked up once. The man watched her for a while, then asked, "What are you reading?" "A ghost story," she replied. "Do you believe in ghosts?" he asked. "Yes, I do," she replied. "There are ghosts everywhere." "I don't believe in them," said the man. "It's just a lot of superstition. In all my years, I've never seen a ghost." "Haven't you?" the woman asked, and vanished. Okay, for sweet's sake, let's try to hit 1 million subscribers and 1 million likes. And I know I sounded creepier than Kara when I was doing that. But trust me, that's for my own good. People don't take me seriously when I sound like I'm fun. I have to install 2 games onto the freaking computer that Kara has, then I can go to bed. Well, actually, it's Sweet's computer, but she won't let me go to bed until I do this. And since I'm 10, that's kind of hell. Pardon my French. And Sans, I so hope you're not watching this. Or don't watch this. Because I really don't need to be scolded for cursing. I mean, Blue's kiddo is allowed to do it. Yeah, Blueberry's kid is allowed to curse. So, why not me? We're both working on this together. Anyways. So, Blueberry, don't get on to your kid for reading this scary story. You'll probably get scared anyways before you even get to your kid's part. Sans, if you want to leave a comment getting on to anyone, leave one getting on to Papyrus for not knowing a good story. I mean, the horror story he picked was called The Pink Jelly Bean. It was about a box that had a single jelly bean in it. Come to think of it, that is kind of scary. Where did the rest of them go? So never mind. Because for those of you who don't know, when you have jelly beans, there's supposed to be more than one.